but none can match your wondrous treasures that I find in Jesus Christ, my Lord. Fill my cup, Lord, I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this worthy of my soul. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Fill my cup, lift it up and make me whole. So my brother, eat this thing, this one gave you. Leave hunger that won't pass away. My bestseller will come and save you. If you need to eat and be praised, fill my cup, Lord. I lift it up, Lord. Come and quench this worthy of my soul. Bread of heaven, feed me till I want no more. Fill my cup, lift it up and make me whole.
Morning, everyone. When Ricardo was 10 years old, he had an accident while jumping over a fence in Angola. He didn't notice a thin metal wire on the other side of the fence, and it caused him to hit the ground headfirst. After the incident, he began to lose his sight. At school, he had trouble seeing what the teacher wrote on the chalkboard, and he asked to sit in the front row. After a while, he could not see from the front row. Finally, the teacher sent him home saying the school could not teach a blind boy. Ricardo's parents took him to many doctors, but none could help him. They said that he would never see again. Ricardo was very sad. He could no longer play soccer, ride a bicycle, or play hide and go seek with his friends. When he left home, he could hear some of his old playmates making fun of him. Little blind boy, they said. The boys and girls thought that they were making a funny joke. They didn't know their words were hurting Ricardo. He felt like life was hopeless. One day, an older cousin invited Ricardo to go on a Pathfinder outing. The cousin was the leader of the Pathfinder club. Ricardo didn't want to go, but his cousin kept insisting, so finally he went. Ricardo was surprised that he could participate in many Pathfinder activities. The cousin even asked him to help out. Ricardo felt needed. He felt good. A short time later, Ricardo heard a sermon that made him want to give his heart to Jesus. But then trouble struck. At the baptismal class, the teacher asked Ricardo and other people who wanted to be baptized to memorize the 10 Commandments. But Ricardo couldn't read the Bible or a piece of paper with the 10 Commandments that the teacher passed out. He sadly thought that he would not be able to get baptized. At home, mother encouraged him. God's willing, you will get baptized, she said. During the week, his older sister read the 10 Commandments out loud to Ricardo. She read them again and again so the boy would memorize them. On Friday, everyone who wanted to be baptized gathered at the church. Who will be the first to recite the 10 Commandments? A church elder asked. No one volunteered, so Ricardo raised his hand. He could not remember in the correct order, but he recited all 10 perfectly. The elder was amazed and shook his hand. Turning to the others, he asked, who will recite it like Ricardo? The next day on Sabbath, everyone, including Ricardo, was baptized. Shortly afterwards, Ricardo was invited to share the weekly mission story in the Sabbath school. So when some church members heard, they asked the school leader to change his mind. Ricardo can't tell the mission story because he can't read, they said. The Sabbath school leader gently touched Ricardo on the shoulder. Do you hear what they are saying? He asked. Ricardo nodded. Show everyone what you are able to do, he said. Prepare to tell the story next Sabbath. Ricardo's sister read the mission story to him from the missions quarterly, and he easily memorized it. On Sabbath, Ricardo told the story from beginning to end. When he finished, loud and astonished amens filled the church. Today, Ricardo is a 25-year-old university student and preparing to become a pastor. He, he has led a Pathfinder club for the past 2 years and preaches regularly in churches around Angola. Dozens of people have been baptized after his sermons. Ricardo is no longer sad. Although he cannot see with his eyes, he knows that God has given him an excellent memory. He also says doctors were wrong when they said he would never be able to see again. For Revelation 1 and verse 7 says, "Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him." This is a promise that when Jesus returns, every eye will see him, including Ricardo. One day I will see the face of my Jesus, he says. Today's 13th Sabbath offering will help open an Adventist school in Ricardo's hometown of Luanda, Angola. Today, for giving generously to the Southern Africa Indian Division.
This quarter, our mission focus is the people of the Southern African Indian. Let's get about that our
Madagascar lies off the eastern coast of Africa. More than half of the people living there practice a traditional religion that focuses on honoring the dead. Many have never heard God's message of love and salvation through Jesus.
In the capital city, poverty stalks many streets. Children often must fend for themselves, while a parent or guardian struggles to provide the bare necessities. They can't afford to go to school and have little hope for a better life. Today's offering will help establish an orphanage to give some of the poorest children a safe place to live, an education, and a hope for the future in Jesus.
The Adventist Secondary School in northwestern Madagascar is crowded beyond capacity. Many students come from non-Christian homes, and every year some 80 students and family members are baptized as a result of the school's outreach. Part of today's offering will help build a new classroom block to accommodate more students and reach them for Christ.
Zurcher Adventist University in the capital city, Madagascar, began as a seminary and is adding other courses of study to meet the great needs of Adventist young people. A university must build a classroom multi-purpose building to remain accredited. Part of today's offering will help the university continue to meet the need for quality Adventist education. Namibia lies in the southern African, in the southwestern Africa. It's one of the tribes. About one in every 120 people in Namibia is an Adventist. However, many of the tribal people have never heard of the gospel in a way they can understand and respond. The Himba live not as their models with no need for or reward, but they need to know Jesus. Our offering today is not the that Jesus loves.
The Himba believes that their ancestors guide their day-to-day lives. Few Himba read or write. They pass on their culture and history orally. For years, dedicated missionaries serving the global mission and then with Adventist frontier missions have prayed and searched for the key that would unlock the hearts of the Himba. Today, a team of missionaries and local workers are writing Bible stories that communicate to the Himba in ways they understand and are responding to. Last year, the first Himba Bible stories were distributed to tribal leaders on solar-powered MP3 players, a simple device that operates without the need for batteries. Family and village members can hear God's stories in their own language in a way they can relate to, and they are listening. Part of this quarter's 13th Sabbath offering will help provide MP3 players for more than 200 villages and settlements of Himba in northern Namibia. Through these MP3 players, God is speaking to the hearts of Himba in their own language.
South Africa is a model country with great challenges. While the southern African Indian Ocean basin has an average of one Adventist for every 60, South Africa has one Adventist for every 530 people. Two projects will help specific groups.
Riverside Adventist School in Cape Town, South Africa, has served the community for about 80 years. Today, most of the students come from the poorer settlements surrounding the city. Most come speaking little or no English, but their parents want them to have the advantage of an English-based education. Many of the families served by this school are not Adventists. The potential for mission outreach is high, and every year students and parents are baptized as a result of this school. The school needs to replace a 60-year-old temporary building that no longer meets safety codes. But the parents cannot afford to rebuild. Part of today's offering will help provide a safer, healthier environment for the children to learn.
In the northeastern South Africa lies the town of Iguavuma. Several years ago, a church was planted here. It has grown to 80 members plus 35 children. The congregation meets in a one-room community center, but its children must worship on the tree near the road. The congregation has a land on which to build a simple church, but they can't afford to buy the bricks for their church. They want to give their church a room in which to worship their children, a room in which to worship and learn to lead out in programs. Part of our offering will help build the church for this congregation. The children around the world are giving their 13th Sabbath offering to help provide the worship center for the children. Together we can help this congregation grow and reach out to their community for Christ. Let's give liberally today so that the people of Madagascar, Namibia, and South Africa can reach many. Thank you, kind vision and trade for a job. God bless you. Let's all say amen. Amen. Dalil and Ajani will now come forward to collect the 13th Sabbath offering while the choristers sing Hear the Money's Dropping.
Give and it will come back to you. Good measure, press down, shaking together and running over. Give, it will come back to you. When you give to the Lord. Give, it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together and running over. Give, it will come back to you. When you give to the Lord. Oh, give, it will come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaking together and running over. Give, it will come back to you. When you give to the Lord.
Dear Heavenly Father, and thank you for making us see another Sabbath. And as the money has been put in, help it to enrich others and help it to bless others. In your name I pray, amen.
I hope you have studied to show yourself approved of the Lord. Because it's lesson study time with Miss Baham and Prayerly from the primary division.
We're going to do the primary lesson. My name is Miss Baham. And the topic of the lesson is? All right. We'll now listen to our memory verse. So where was Jesus when he talked to his disciples? Okay. And what was the important lesson that he wanted to teach his disciples? No, repeat. What was the important thing that Jesus wanted to tell his disciples? Right. So what two groups did he divide? Okay. And the goats was and the sheep was right. So what did he tell the people what did he tell the people on the right? Okay. So what did he tell the people on the left? So then what was the response of the people on the right? What was the response after that? Okay. So the response was, where did we wait? Where did we see you hungry and give you something to eat? Where did we see you and give you something to drink? Okay. And the people on the left, how did they feel? How did they feel? Left. Okay. And the people on the right was? Okay. So what lesson did you get out of the lesson? What lesson did you get out of that lesson? Right. So a lesson on a short. Well, we said everything, but to summarize, the disciples, Jesus was talking to his disciples and he wanted them to get something out of what he was saying, but it looked like they did not understand. He wanted them to love one another, and he wanted them to love one another because it looks like the disciples, they didn't really have that love that he wanted them to have, because he wanted them to love one another as he have loved them. But somehow they didn't understand what he was saying when he told them the people would be separated in two sections, the goats on the left hand and the sheep on the right. So at the end, he just wanted us to know, and even in that lesson too, he wants all of us to know that we have to love one another as he have loved us.
Oh, let's all have to pray.
Everything I am.
kindergarten, Nakia and Julia, primary, Trey and Denicia, juniors, Dijon, Elitin, Berger, Basana, Jai, Jalil, Jahim, and Faith.
Mark 9:35. Psalm 118, verse 6. The Lord. Luke 8 and verse 39. Tell. John 13 and verse 15. Jesus said, You should do